So I finally stopped out at Myopic bookstore in Chicago. The first one I got here, The Warlord of the Air by Michael Moorcock. So I've been waiting to try and find like an entry into his stuff because his body of work is just like so big and confusing. There's so many different series and things like that. I know he's got the Elric series of books and one that centers around another guy. Anyway, I picked up this one because this is the first in a series of I think only 3 books, and I know that he's known as kind of one of the faces of the new wave of science fiction, which was like the 60s, early 70s. But on the back of this one here, it says, "Who says they don't write science fiction anymore the way the grand masters of the past did?" So I think this is more like a classic golden age adventure. Maybe not like the first place you would start with Moorcock, but I'll give it a shot unless I pick up some of those Elric books or something like that. But I think they're hard to find and also kind of pricey. This one still has some of the inserts in it. So this one's for True Cigarettes. I think the gimmick is that weird filter. The next one I have is The Cross of Fire by Barry Malzberg. So in this one, in the future, there's a new technique in advanced psychotherapy where you can be given dreams as vivid as your reality. And I believe in this one, the main character chooses to become Jesus. A quote from the Boston Phoenix on the inside says, "Throughout Malzberg's prose, perhaps the finest in science fiction, weaves a state of lyric darkness. This promises to be the science fiction novel of the year." Sort of a high claim, perhaps the finest prose in science fiction. So, look forward to that. Another first from a big new wave guy is The Furies by Keith Roberts. So this one, I believe, is from '66, in which America and Russia both explode huge H-bombs simultaneously. The tests go wrong, cracking the seabed, rupturing continents and engulfing cities. The Thames flattens into a floodplain and London is drowned. Now comes cosmic retribution. Giant wasps. Monstrous and deadly. Directed by a supernatural intelligence. So I don't know if they're like aliens or if the rift causes this, or I don't know. But this will be kind of a running theme in some of the books that I picked up today. H-bombs being set off. Now, speaking of the Grand Masters of the Golden Age of SF, here we have L. Sprague de Camp's Lest Darkness Fall. It's from 1941. I think this printing now is from '69. What would you do if you were suddenly dropped back to the distant past, say ancient Rome? Invent gunpowder and take over the empire? Use your knowledge of history to make a fortune as a prophet? Build an airplane? Discover America 1,000 years ahead of Columbus? It's fun and easy to think about, but it's not that easy. So this guy, I think, is lesser talked about than any of the people I've mentioned so far. It says William Tenn's The Square Root of Man. And I believe this is just a collection of his short work. And this is actually part of a series of publications from, is this Ballantine? Yeah, and you can see the other books on the back that they have published in this series. There's a story in this one called The Lemon Green Spaghetti Loud Dynamite Dribble Day. Going back to nuclear bombs, this one's called Alas Babylon. I think this one's pretty standard. Like, what would happen? What do we do after the nuclear holocaust? And I know that this one seems to be really popular. I had not heard of it up until recently, since I started getting back into reading science fiction. But this is by far Pat Frank's most well-known book, and it seems like the type of thing that might have been even like adapted into a movie or something like that. But if it has, um, I have not seen it. That is Alas Babylon. Speaking of Grand Masters of the Golden Age, this is one of the Grand Masters. I picked up two of his. Alfred Bester, the star's My Destination. Foyle was determined to find and kill those who had ruthlessly planned his death. He was a space nomad, left in space forever. Then, suddenly, he was the center of a war between the worlds, enmeshed in a life and death struggle for the mysterious substance that could destroy the entire universe. The Demolished Man by Alfred Bester. Over 500,000 copies sold. Soon a major motion picture, which, if it ever became a motion picture, I don't think I ever saw it or was very popular. One of the all-time classics of science fiction, says Isaac Asimov. A staggering achievement. This terrifically exciting future novel is just about the best ever written, says the Chicago Tribune. Winner of the first Hugo Award. So when was this like the early mid-50s? 1951, 53, I can't tell. This publication was 78, The Demolished Man. So speaking of celebrated Golden Age authors, from The Mind That Brought You, The Day of the Triffids and the Midwich Cuckoos, Jizzle. So I'm kind of trying to round off my collecting of Silverbergs because, if you know anything about science fiction, you know that he was very prolific. So I already have several Silverbergs, of which I still need to read many. But I think this is it on collecting Silverbergs for now for me. This is one of his smaller ones, one of his earlier ones. Dell, Time of the Great Freeze. Looks like just kind of like an icy adventure. Let's look at the blue pages there. Next I have Silverberg in trade paperback. I have Dying Inside, which has this quote on the back from the New York Times Book Review. Quote, Silverberg has written the perfect science fiction novel for people who don't like science fiction. I guess I have to read to find out what they mean by that. Locus said, one of the best science fiction novels of all time. And there's also a lengthy quote on the back here from Christopher Priest. And also a quote on the cover from Michael Chabon, which I don't know him to be a science fiction guy, but that's cool anyways. And then, these are my first Gollancz Yellow editions. When I, first learned of them, I didn't really enjoy the bright yellow. That's not really a color I like. But I'm sort of starting to grow. They're sort of starting to grow on me. But this one, yes, Thorns, which is a early period Silverberg again. And I wanted to replace. I had paperback copy, but you can't really tell, but it's kind of beat up. So there's a quote on the inside here from M. John Harrison. And it's about Duncan Chalk as a monstrous media mogul with a vast appetite for other people's pain. He feeds off it and carefully nurtures it in order to feed it to the public. Kind of sounds like today, and kind of like today's media. And then, lastly, another Gollancz Yellow. Got the Stochastic Man. I think pretty much all of these Silverbergs were nominated for Hugos and Nebulas and all that. I'm still trying to figure out how much stock I want to put into all those, but they are, I guess, kind of a good reference point just to have as a list. This might be about a guy who remembers a bunch of stuff. We will see. So a book that I just finished was The Weapon Shops of Isher by A.E. Van Vogt. So, before I had read anything by him, I got to scooping up and collecting a lot of his stuff because, there's a lot out there, like on auction sites and in shops and stuff like that. And I'd also, he's pretty well respected and, good covers. The name sounded good. He's referred to as one of these Golden Age Grandmasters. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll scoop them all up. Little did I know he's one of these Heinlein-esque libertarian freaks. I got 73% of the way into this book, and then I DNF'd it. Yeah, it's just a complete libertarian fantasy. Like, guns are the sole solution to like all of the galaxy's problems. Big cities are just completely like full of thieves, and everybody's trying to steal everything you have. And the relationship between two of the main characters is super cringy. It reads like an incel wrote it. It's just I was severely let down, and it's just like that whole mindset infused the entire element of the book to the point that I don't know how I'm going to read any other A.E. Van Vogt. Now I'm just sitting on a stack of them. I've been planning on maybe doing like an auction, a live auction on Whatnot. So maybe that's a way I'll get rid of my Van Vogts, because it was that much of a turnoff. Like I don't I don't want to read any more of his stuff. I might hang on to Slan, and I have like a kind of nice trade paperback version of The War Against the Roll. So I'll probably hang on to those, but literally the rest of them can go. Even like the paperbacks I have of The World of Nole and the Players of Nole, those have like really handsome covers. I don't even feel like hanging on to those, just even for the artwork. So yeah, that's it. That was my myopic bookstore haul. That was my disappointment with The Weapon Shops of Isher. And I think there might be a new haul coming soon from another antique store. And the book that I'm reading now, so I'm waiting for, I ordered some UK imports of the SF Masterworks series of two PKD books, a Strugatsky Brothers book, and I believe a Christopher Priest book. So I really want to get to one of the PKDs, but before I do, while I'm waiting, I'm going to read James Blish's A Case of Conscience. This is my first Blish. A couple pages in, I'm already enjoying the prose and the whole setup way more than Weapon Shops. One of the best condition paperbacks I have. It was really calling to me. So I know this might not be the first place people start with Blish. I guess some people would start with either Cities in Flight, Ceiling Stars, Galactic Cluster. This belongs in like a loose series of books that I don't think need to be read in any order except for two of them, which are Black Easter and The Day After Judgment. I have those in a combo edition called The Devil's Day. So yeah, this consists of Black Easter and The Day After Judgment. So hopefully I'm going to like this a lot. I know Black Easter comes highly recommended on SF BookTube, but I'll get to that one eventually. for right now, James Bush is a case of conscience, and that'll be next.